is welcome you to today's webinar, Become an Expert in Cloud Computing with Microsoft Azure Certifications. Today's speaker is Sandra Marin. She is the lead for Azure training and certification. She's got a really strong background in the technology industry and has been with Microsoft for over 20 years.
Perfect. Thank you, Sharon. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm joining you today from the beautiful Seattle area, and it's starting to rain, to go with the cliche. So I'm very happy to be here with you, and thank you, New Horizons, for inviting me to share this time with you today. We are going to, today I want to share how Microsoft Azure certifications can help you ensure that you personally or your organization have all the skills that you need to meet the challenges of today's cloud digital world. To understand Azure certifications, we need to know three things. How building the right skills on Azure can help you as an individual or as an organization to embrace digital transformation. How the Microsoft Learn offering works, and what is the role of Azure certifications as part of this Microsoft Learn offering, and how to identify the right certifications based on your team members' roles or in your current role, and in those anticipated roles that you might have, that you might pursue or you might have in your team. And also we'll take a look at the breadth of resources that we have available to help you and your team to prepare for digital transformation and for certification. I'm just dealing here with some windows. So to set context, let's start with the role of the Microsoft Cloud in digital transformation. Our goal at Microsoft is to empower every individual and every organization on the planet to achieve more. In the next revolution, growth is being driven by technology. Our integrated cloud approach creates an unmatched platform for digital transformation. We address real-world needs of customers by seamlessly integrating Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, LinkedIn, GitHub, Power Platform, and Azure to unlock business value for every organization, from large companies to family-run businesses. And the backbone of and the foundation for this is Azure. Now, digital transformation is never a one-size-fits-all scenario. But if you think of it as a journey with incremental steps towards a long-term goal, it becomes a much less intimidating proposition. There are many examples of digital transformation among our Azure customers. Large retail companies empowering their employees and meeting their customer needs, or small businesses like restaurants creating custom machine learning models to better serve its customers, or manufacturing companies training frontline workers and empowering them through cutting-edge technology like HoloLens. Organizations that have embraced digital transformation are seeing significant benefits, and this includes increasing agility, products getting to market faster, improved efficiencies, reducing costs. So when you think, why Azure? It's because we can enable anyone from any background and any company to do more and to achieve more, and ultimately to invent with purpose. And that is how we feel about Azure. We want to invent with purpose in how we think about what we deliver to you, but also how we want to enable you to invent with purpose. And we do that in a number of key ways. Let's take a look more closely at these ways that we call the promises. And this is what Azure can deliver and how we'll help you along the way. First, We're going to make sure that we have the technology that meets your needs. Not only your needs today, but also your needs tomorrow. The cloud is moving fast. Every week we have new technology coming out. So it's about meeting new capabilities now, but also investing in those capabilities on the horizon, from the Internet of Things to artificial intelligence to quantum computing. From a developer perspective, it's about being able to build on your own terms with the frameworks, the tools, the operating system that you want to help ensure that you have the freedom and flexibility to work successfully and to deploy your application with quality and confidence every time. Technology is sitting in the public cloud, in the data center, on edge devices, all running in a holistic way, in a seamless environment. And that seamless environment is essential. Otherwise, running that way is going to be expensive, hard, and insecure. And then there's trust. Nothing is more important than trust, particularly when you are talking about the cloud. It's about addressing and meeting your security and compliance goals. These are the promises that Azure can offer you as you invest in your organization's digital transformation. If you haven't looked at Azure in a while, you might be surprised to see what we have these days. Here is, I don't know what is the screen, mine is on this side. Here is a high-level map of the class services that we offer on Azure. We currently have more than 200 products and services. And you will notice that we've extended to the edge. Azure gives you the ability to run application code in the cloud, but also in a consistent way in the edge, whether you are using Azure Stack or Azure Sphere, all the way to HoloLens and mixed reality capabilities. These are powerful edge devices that work in connection with the cloud. And you'll see that we offer dev tools, DevOps, and great innovation to the core infrastructure and to our platform as a service component. This is a super high level overview of the scope of what Azure as a platform and service can do for you. There are many resources where you can see this in detail, but now let's take a look at how you can be sure that you have the skills to deal with this tech intensity. The first element in tech intensity is tech capability. You need essential skills to build on those. If you as an individual, as an IT professional, or if you in your team have the latest skills and capabilities, you can be more innovative. And because you can be more innovative, you gain competitive advantage, whether that be speed to market, new features, or an entirely new way at looking at problems that can be solved with technology. When you have tech capability, it's easier to adopt new technologies. And now you are in the game because you have tech confidence. But notice that everything starts with having the right skills. Without this, you've got nowhere to go, nothing to build on. It's the technical skills that set you free. Those skills enable you to be a successful professional or a successful organization in this fast-paced moving world. Skills build confidence, and confidence drives productivity, innovation, and growth. So how Azure certifications can help you build skills intensity? Without the right talent, you cannot meet today's demand. Azure certifications and the training associated are designed to help you acquire and validate the technical knowledge and ability in current and future industry job roles. This means they can help you ensure that you personally or your organization have the right talent. Azure certifications enable IT professionals, developers, data and AI professionals to validate that they have the necessary skills to cover all the aspects of your digital transformation, from managing on-premises, hybrid, or cloud infrastructure to innovating with the best-in-class applications, or to support those applications and infrastructure with data analytics, all with the proper security considerations. So let's take a closer look at what Azure certifications we have available for these technical professionals. Here is a full view of the Azure certification portfolio. You can see we have a variety of certifications across fundamentals, role-based, and specialties. We're gonna talk in detail about each one of these in a moment, bear with me. Right now, I wanna share that some certifications in our portfolio are better for IT professionals, some are better for developers, some are better for data and AI professionals. However, many of our certifications are a good fit for more than one technical audience or profession. So we're gonna go in detail in a moment, but first, before we deep dive, I want to explain how we approach skilling at Microsoft. We at Microsoft develop learning experiences that identify new and emerging job roles, so you have the skills you need to be prepared in this tech-intensive world. The first step for us is to understand what are the roles that companies need for digital transformation. What people in those roles must know, what skills they should have. We perform what we call a job task analysis. This is a very extensive and thorough process where we bring our knowledge and technology expertise, but we also listen to what the market is asking for. People like yourself, people like your companies, and we ask industry analysts to come and help us to understand this. Our goal is to understand what I said before. What roles are needed for digital transformation? What skills are needed? What training is needed to acquire those skills? So we align our role definition to meet industry and market needs with the skills and capabilities needed for the job, including specializations, hands-on experience, practice requirements. This effort sets the blueprint for all the learning content we create, so everything is aligned to help you succeed in this digital first world. Microsoft offers many training options, so technical professionals like yourself can choose to learn in a style that fits you best. These learning experiences help you to be ready for the job and to prepare for certifications if that is a journey you want to pursue also. Our collection of learning experiences supports your complete learning journey, and these experiences can be combined for optimal results. You can use self-paced learning to build practical job skills with easily accessible free learning paths. You can attend training events to get a unique upskilling experience. We offer traditional presentation-based conference, demonstrations, discussions, workshops, and as you have seen recently with our main events, Microsoft Build and Microsoft Ignite, you can now attend those events online as well. And then you can attend in-depth instructor-led training, either virtually or in person. This instructor-led training is based on Microsoft official curriculum that is taught by Microsoft certified trainers and delivered by Microsoft learning partners like New Horizons here. And you can use all of these training options to build your foundation for skills validation and recognition with Microsoft certifications. All our content is based on real business needs, and it's aligned to roles, and it's combining all these modalities so you can follow a learning journey. And this process leads to Microsoft certifications. Microsoft certifications focus on assessing how you apply what you know to solve real business challenges. We have redesigned our exams and our testing to evaluate the ability to solve real world problems, integrating information from multiple sources, implementing solutions within business constraints, and achieving specific business outcomes. Our exams and certifications emphasize your ability to demonstrate skills rather than your ability to answering questions about skills. We have in our certifications and our exams performance-based labs that map to what you do every day in your work, in your job, and how and to show how you use technology in your day job. So we have 3 types of certifications, and each one validates different aspects of your ability to use technology to solve business problems. We have fundamentals certifications. These validate foundational understanding of Microsoft technologies. They are a springboard into deeper role-based learning paths and certifications. For a fundamental certifications, you don't need experience. Role-based certifications, on the other hand, focus on solutions rather than on products, and they validate technical skills required to perform industry job roles on Microsoft platforms and technologies, using Microsoft platforms and technologies. We also have specialty certifications, and these validate deep technical skills and the ability to manage industry solutions, including third-party solutions on Microsoft platforms. And we'll see when we take a look at the Azure certification portfolio, we'll identify which ones are fundamentals, role-based, and which ones are specialty. Certification is a key component of your learning culture, not only as a proof of skills and expertise, but certification has real benefits to individuals and to companies. Azure certifications can help grow your confidence and expertise. And there are practical implications about this. IT professionals report better job effectiveness after achieving a new certification. They are better at implementing efficiencies, faster performance, improved and increased industry knowledge. Certifications also help you stand out in a competitive job market. Certified professionals get recognized, and their expertise is more sought after within their organizations. Certifications also help increase your salary. Certified professionals think that Azure certifications are an important factor when it comes to increasing earning potential. So yes, certification is important for you as a professional, but it's also important for companies. Certifications that are globally recognized and industry endorsed are the best way to prove or validate that a person has the skills to do the job. Here is a sobering stat. 60% of IT decision makers believe that a skills gap costs their employees between 3 and 8 hours per week. Imagine a whole day lost every week for every employee just because they haven't been trained to have the skills they need. And when we look at role-based certifications, we can see that IT professionals who achieve relevant role-based certifications perform on average 26% better than their uncertified colleagues with the same responsibilities. These employees add value with increased productivity, faster troubleshooting, fewer skill gaps. They are not losing time, they are gaining time. They are more productive, more efficient in their roles, and they bring more creative solutions to complex technical problems. Most employers believe that IT certifications save time and resources when they are evaluating new candidates or when they are evaluating promotions within their companies. Certifications simplify talent identification and recruitment, making the screening process easier and helping to distinguish individuals. So let's go back to Azure certifications, and let's start figuring out what is the best way to choose. So as I mentioned before, our certifications are focused on technical audiences. Some are better fits for some professions, but most of them are good for different professions. So let's dive a little deeper on this so you can see what I mean. I'm going to start with the certifications, the Azure certifications that we recommend for IT professionals. These certifications here validate that an IT professional has the skills needed to build, deploy, and manage on-premises, hybrid, or cloud infrastructure solutions. Although these certifications we show here are noted for IT pros, several of them actually are suitable for other audiences, as you will see in a moment. The first certification and the primary one that we recommend for IT professionals is the Azure Administrator Associate. This is a role-based certification. We recommend this for cloud administrators or people that are evolving from being a system administrator to a cloud administrator. This certification is everything related about the skills to implement, monitor, and manage Azure solutions, including all aspects of compute, storage, network, and security. All Azure certifications include a security component. Security is pervasive to everything we do. But the Azure Security Engineer Associate is a deep dive into security controls and threat protection. It's all about identity and access, security across data, applications, hybrid and cloud networks, and end-to-end infrastructure, security for end-to-end infrastructure. This certification is a nice complement to the Azure Administrator that I was talking about before. Now I want to introduce our first specialty certification, Azure for SAP Workloads. This certification is designed for SAP architects or engineers with extensive experience building, deploying, migrating, and operating SAP solutions on Azure. So if you are in the SAP world, this is the certification for you. In the SAP on Azure world, this is the certification for you or for your team. A critical step in IT is securing continuous integration and continuous delivery. And DevOps Engineer Expert is the role-based certification that addresses this capability. This certification is expert level and is the only certification in our portfolio that requires, that has a pre-requirement. To become a DevOps Engineer Expert, you must also be an Azure administrator or an Azure developer. So you need to earn one of those two in order to earn your DevOps Engineer Expert. And this certification is good for IT pros, and we'll see in a moment, it's also good for developers. Well, I just mentioned because Azure developer is one of the possible ways for this. Azure Solutions Architect is our second expert level certification. And Azure Solutions Architect has the skills to design end-to-end solutions for Azure, considering infrastructure, applications, data, security. This certification is the most comprehensive certification that we have, and is good for you if you come from the IT infrastructure world, but also if you come from the developer world or if you come from the data world. So it's comprehensive to everything Azure, so it's good for any professional or technical audience, but it's a high-level certification. Now let's take a look at certifications for developers. These certifications here are designed to validate the skills that developers need to innovate with best-in-class applications. The first certification is the obvious one for developers, Azure Developer Associate. This certification is about validating the skills necessary to build, maintain, and optimize Azure apps using first and third-party services. The second certification is a specialty, the Azure IoT Developer Specialty, and this is focused on creating IoT solutions and on validating the skills to implement, optimize, manage, and operate a full Azure IoT solution, including the devices. And it also validates the skills to process and manage the data generated by those devices. So it's a very interesting certification. If you are in the IoT world, we strongly recommend this one. A certification that initially doesn't look like for developers, but we strongly recommend for developers is the Azure AI Engineer Associate. This certification lives in the intersection of the apps and the data and AI world. So it's good for both developers and for data and AI professionals. This certification is validate the skills needed to embed artificial intelligence capabilities into applications, including cognitive services, natural language processing, conversational AI. We already mentioned the DevOps Expert and the Azure Solutions Architect certifications. I just want to reinforce the message that both DevOps Expert and Azure Solutions Architect are a good certification for developers as well. Now, let's take a look at the certifications for data and AI professionals. These certifications we recommend to validate the skills required to support apps and infrastructure with data analytics. We have the Azure Data Engineer Associate. This certification validates the skills required to design and implement end-to-end data solutions using the full stack of Azure data services. This includes relational, structured, and structured data storage, data processing, and more. Everything data in the cloud, data on Azure. The Azure Database Administrator is a very interesting certification because it addresses the hybrid data landscape. This certification validates the skills required to plan, implement, design, optimize, and operate hybrid and cloud data platform solution using both Microsoft SQL Server and Azure Data Services. So it's a very interesting certification. We acknowledge that data lives in hybrid worlds, on premises or in the cloud and in the cloud. So this certification is the one. So if you are a traditional DBA, this should be the certification you should look into. Data Analyst this certification, Data Analyst Associate, is about data analytics and visualization. It validates the skills needed to prepare, model, visualize, and analyze data using Microsoft Power BI. And the Azure Data Scientist Associate certification is the other one in our AI-specific certifications. So the Data Scientist Associate certification validates the skills needed to create and use machine learning models with Azure. This certification doesn't prove that you are a data scientist. This certification proves that you can apply data science using Azure. We already talked about the Azure AI Engineer certification and how it's a great fit for data professionals, but also for developers. And we also mentioned the Azure Solutions Architect that is also a good, it is also in the journey for data professionals. Now, you're probably wondering, where is Azure Fundamentals and the new AI and data fundamentals? So I have a particular section for all our fundamentals. As I mentioned before, all our fundamental certifications validate foundational knowledge of foundational understanding of Microsoft technologies. In the Azure world, if you are just starting on Azure, or even if you are a cloud beginner, we strongly recommend that you consider the Azure Fundamentals training and certification. This certification validates your foundational knowledge of cloud services and how Azure provides those services. This certification is we recommend as a preparation for every Azure certification, but it's not a prerequisite. This is kind of like back to your basics. If you are new to Azure, or if you are new to cloud, or if you are going for any of the Azure certifications, always take a look at the Azure Fundamentals training, because all those other certifications are assuming that you know your basics, and this is your basics. If you are getting started in the AI world, then don't miss the AI fundamentals training and certification. With the AI fundamentals certificate, the Azure AI fundamentals certification, you can demonstrate your knowledge of common machine learning and AI workloads and how to implement them on Azure. You don't need to be a technical professional for this to take this exam. Some general programming knowledge will help, but you don't need to be an engineer, a software engineer, or a data scientist to take the Azure AI fundamentals. If you are looking to grow your cloud database expertise, if you are a developer or a data and AI professional, or if you are just beginning to work with data in the cloud, we recommend the Azure Data Fundamentals certification and training. This certification can help you prove your knowledge of core data concepts and how they are implemented using Azure Data Services. There is another certification, fundamental certification, that we like to recommend, even though it's not part of the Azure portfolio. And this is the Power Platform Fundamentals. The reason I like to recommend it is because it provides a very nice foundational knowledge for the data analyst role and for the Azure developer role. So the Power Platform Fundamentals certification and the training associated will help you validate the understanding of core capabilities of Microsoft Power Platform, including Power Apps and Power BI. That's why we recommend it. Now, let's do a quick recap of the certification portfolio that I just mentioned, and I like to give you some insight into how we keep it up to date. This is just a different view from the one we showed at the beginning, organized by type of certification. And this shows our Azure certification portfolio. And we are committed to reviewing this portfolio periodically to help ensure that it remains relevant and that is technically accurate. And moreover, more important, that we are assessing the skills that you need to thrive in this digital transformation world. Our review makes sure that we are not only assessing the right skills for each one of these roles or certifications, but that we are also assessing only what really needs to be validated for that particular job role. And this allows us, our review allows us to have a coherent portfolio with less duplication of skills and an increased emphasis on what is truly important for each job role. If you follow, and I'll show how you can stay connected with us, very often we announce that we have a new certification or a new version of an exam, or that we have updated our content. All those changes are a result of our continuous portfolio maintenance, because we need to make sure that if you are pursuing our certifications, you are up to date with technology and with jobs requirement. Our portfolio maintenance include new certifications as we see new roles emerging in the industry, updating current certifications to stay aligned with necessary skills, and sometimes even removing certifications that are no longer needed in the industry or in the market. Now, let's explore what options we offer you to stay up to date with all this tech intensity. So we have a lot of resources to help you get ready for the job, or to help you prepare for certifications if that is something you want to do. We have plenty of resources. If you want to explore in detail what I've covered today, make sure you follow our blog series. We have a blog series for Azure certifications in the Microsoft Learn blog, and we keep going in even more detail than the one I shared here about each one of our certifications. So be sure to follow our blog. And if you want to get inspired, we have a pretty nice video, and we have a poster that shows all our portfolio, kind of like similar to the view that I showed at some point here. Now, to help you prepare, we have official curriculum. So we have two main types of official curriculum, additional to what we do at events. We have Microsoft official courses. I mentioned this at the beginning. For every one of our certifications, you will always find Microsoft official courses developed directly by Microsoft. And as I mentioned before, these courses are delivered by Microsoft Learning Partners like New Horizons, our host today. And these courses are taught by Microsoft certified trainers. These courses are designed based on the same blueprint that we use to create our certification exams. So you know they can help you in your preparation. And we have Microsoft official curriculum also not aligned to certifications. There are topics that are important like migration, we have many additional courses that will help you to get prepared to for your daily job, not necessarily just aligned to certifications. Additionally, every certification has free online training on Microsoft Learn. And this is, if you have been in touch with Microsoft Learn, this is interactive learning, combining short step-by-step tutorials on browser-based coding and scripting environments. And for Azure, and we are extending this to other platforms, Microsoft Learn includes labs in a free sandbox environment. That means that as you are doing your online training on Microsoft Learn, some of this training includes hands-on labs, and you don't need to pay for an Azure subscription to do those labs. There is a free sandbox area in Microsoft Learn, so you can do your labs as you are doing your training. And Microsoft Learn has a lot more training, not just training to get prepared for certification, but for every product, every technology that we have of Microsoft, you will have training content. You will find training content on Microsoft Learn. Additional to the official curriculum, we have a lot of options to help you prepare for certifications or to help you acquire the skills for the job. If you are thinking about preparing for certifications, we have Microsoft Certified Official Practice Tests. These are created and delivered by our business partner, Measure Up, but these practice tests are created from the same blueprint that we create our exams. So you know that they will help you prepare. And we have a lot of resources that will help you to acquire new skills. We have Microsoft Docs, which is the full product documentation for every Microsoft product. You have the Azure Developer Guide. If you are a developer, this is a must go-to resource. Or if you are in the architecture world, the Azure Architecture Center, or the Azure Well-Architected Framework. This is actually a quite new resource, the Azure Well-Architected Framework. And the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure is a very good resource for TDMs and for implementers. So if you are deciding your journey to the cloud from the very beginning, or if you are somewhere along the way, this Cloud Adoption Framework is also a must go-to resource. And finally, these are ways to stay connected with Microsoft Learn. At the same time, technology, the pace of technology, we release products all the time in Microsoft. We also release content all the time in Microsoft. So on a weekly basis, we are updating new content on Microsoft Learn. So what is the best way to get to know what's going on in the training and certification world? stay connected with Microsoft Learn. So we have our blog, we have our community, we have a newsletter, a monthly newsletter that you can subscribe to. For immediate announcements, you can follow us on our social media channels on Twitter and LinkedIn. And if you are interested in understanding the full scope of Microsoft certifications beyond Azure, I recommend you take a look at the Microsoft certifications poster. And one thing that I want to mention before I move on is that all these resources will help you to acquire skills and to prepare for Microsoft certifications. But if you remember, I mentioned at some point that our certifications focus on assessing how you apply what you know to solve real business challenges. All these resources here can help you to reinforce your knowledge, but you always will need real life experience with the role and with the platform to earn your role-based and specialty certifications. Fundamental certifications don't require experience, but role-based and specialty certifications do require experience and hands-on. And so just doing the training is not enough to pass our certification exams. I've saved this key resource for the end, and it's always available to help you in your skilling journey. I'm talking about Microsoft Learning Partners and like New Horizons today. They offer a breadth of training solutions to suit your learning needs. And as Sharon mentioned at the beginning, they combine online, classroom, self-paced learning with hands-on labs. Learning partners like New Horizons work with Microsoft certified trainings, and they have local market relevance, expertise, and language skills. So wherever you are in the world, you will always find a Microsoft Learning Partner and most likely a New Horizons office that will help you assess your team and review your project plans and deliver a customized training plan to build the technical expertise that you need. Now it's time to start your learning journey. Every company and every person has a unique journey. Your organization's digital transformation journey will define your own learning journey. Your own personal job, current job, or desired job will define your personal learning journey. Depending on your business goals, depending on your professional goals, you might have different skilling needs. Some members of your team or you might need foundational understanding of the technology. There might be some roles in your team that need specific technical skills to be successful in their jobs. Or you might be starting a new project that requires you to use or combine multiple technologies to deliver the best solution. So you need to identify your learning and skilling needs. And based on that, you can create the learning plan for yourself or for your team, combining all these learning experiences available to you through digital skilling, training events, classroom training. You can work with New Horizons or a learning partner in your geography to help you decide and design this learning journey. And certification is one of those steps in the learning journey if you want yourself or your team to prove knowledge and help gain recognition. So it's time to get started. Technical skilling is critical for your digital transformation, and that's why Microsoft and our learning partners are committed to help you and your team to develop the technical abilities you need to support your organization's goal in today's cloud-based digital world. And we are excited to share this learning journey with you, and we are here to support you. So Sharon, this is all I have, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much. We have a lot of questions. Is there a percentage that lists the number of candidates for the exam and the percentage of who passed the exam? The number, how many people pass? Is it 70%, 2%?
It's not by design that we have like a goal of making sure that only 50% of people pass the exam or no. Like if you have the skills, you will pass. I think it varies by exam and by certification. Some certifications are more complex, so you need to be sure that you have the knowledge and the experience. For example, the fundamentals certifications, because it's foundational knowledge, they tend to have a high ratio of passing. And they are by far our most popular certifications these days because it's introduction to technology. But as you start moving into role-based and specialty, you start seeing that the passing rate is lower. But it's not necessarily because we make them more difficult. It's because those require certain skills, advanced skills, if you will. So I don't have numbers that I can share with you, but we do pay thorough attention to when we see a certification that seems to have a lower passing rate. That's a flag for us to go and review because it might mean that we are not measuring the right skills. So that's part of our maintenance. So that's we keep reviewing this because we want you to prove your skills, and if we are asking you the wrong questions, then you might not be able to prove them even if you have them. So we take a look, we pay close attention to these kind of things to make sure that we are reviewing and updating our certifications. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think it definitely does. I think one of the reasons why that question was asked is that this person took the AZ 104 exam and for the second time and still didn't get a score, and that there was a lot of content that he felt wasn't covered in the certification training. Where does he go?
So we do have a recommended training, and actually for that particular certification, AZ 104, we released a few months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, I can't remember exactly when, we released a new recommended set of learning paths on Microsoft Learn to prepare for that certification. So you should take a look at the exam page. The learning paths that we recommend there are designed to help you, are aligned with the skills measured in the exam. So that's one way. The other way is the instructor-led training that we have for that particular exam is also aligned to the exam blueprint. And we have 2 trainings for that exam. If you come from the Microsoft background, there is one course. But if you come from the AWS world, there is another course that we recommend. So we have different options. In the exam page, you will see those options.
So we have a question from Steve. He said, I deal with infrastructure and our virtual environment at my job dealing with Hyper-V. I feel I missed which Azure-based certification would be best to deal with something similar to this. So we're talking infrastructure, virtual environment, and Hyper-V.
Yeah, so that would be the Azure administrator, because Azure administrator is the one dealing with all compute and storage and network. So that would be the one I would go for. I am not able to share a lot of details now, but we are working on some additional certifications that hopefully will release in the next semester. That might be also interesting in that particular area. But for now, I think the Azure administrator could be a very good fit.
So we have another question from Gideon. The certifications are not easy. I have over 100 badges and around 20 trophies on the Microsoft Learning Platform. Azure is super. I work very hard right now on the AZ 104 and have 4 or 5 other exams coming up. Now let's assume the worst case and I fail. What shall I do? Give up or try to find a job in Azure anyway?
I think you can do a couple of things. And again, I mentioned that that doing the training is not enough. You need hands-on experience. You need work experience.
Right.
So that's something that if you are already working, remember the certification is to prove something that you already know. It's not to prove something that you just learned. So the training is not enough. Be sure to have the work experience. And there are a lot of communities that in the Microsoft Learn world that can help you with tips and tricks. We have very good study guides that people in the community have created to help you deep dive in some of those concepts that you might be might need to improve. So yeah, I would recommend to and Sharon, I can send over some links specifically to help prepare for the AC 104. If you go to the Microsoft community and leave a message and tag me, I will give you the resources.
Okay, do you hear that? Tag her in the Microsoft Learning community.
Yeah,
You
in the
know,
Microsoft Learn community, and the link is in let me go back actually to the resources.
yeah, I can put it in, but I think it's really important to do something like, being part of a community, having a study group. I'm in the middle of renewing my virtual event certification, and the study group is really what has kind of made everything gel together with some of the new technology and stuff out there. I'm sure it's the same with Microsoft and all the
Absolutely,
certification.
absolutely. And that's a great point, Sharon, because I see a lot of activity in the Microsoft Learn community of people asking like, hey, like the question you just asked from our listener, and it's like, hey, I'm preparing for this. Where can I find information? And the community is very dynamic and very helpful. They give tips all the time. So make sure you connect to that Microsoft Learn community. You'll find a lot of help from there. And I am part of the community, so feel free to tag me, and I can support also with additional resources.
Great. So I have another question that says, how often does Microsoft update certifications?
We do update certifications all the time. So our maintenance process for every single exam is this one. Every 2 months, we review every single exam. And sometimes there are no changes. Sometimes there are minor changes. Sometimes there are big changes. So every 2 months, we go and review all the exam, all the blueprint and the questions, and it's like, okay, is this still valid? Is this technology still available? Is this skill still needed? Is this product still around? Is there a new technology or product that helps to accomplish this task or this job better? So we do that every 2 months, and often you will see when you go to the exam page that we publish always the skills outline document, and often you will see a comment saying this is changing, this is changing. So some changes are minor, and it's just like, okay, we updated a product name, or we updated a skill that is not necessary, we added a skill that is necessary, stuff like that. And every year we do a very thorough review. Every year, if you remember, I mentioned the job task analysis. We do that for every certification every year. So every 2 months we do reviews, but every year we do a complete job task analysis on every certification, because we need to validate that there is still that this is still a role valid in the market. Sometimes the job task analysis says like, you are good to go as you are. Sometimes it's like, hey, you need to make major changes. Sometimes those major changes is like, hey, there is a more than 50% change in this role. So in that case, we kind of like release a complete new version of exams. And sometimes it's like this role doesn't exist in the industry anymore. You maybe need to get rid of it. So our process is every 2 months and every year a thorough refresh. And out of this regular maintenance is how we decide the updates in our complete portfolio.
We have another question that I'm happy to take. How does the content of New Horizons classes compare to the content on Microsoft Learn, say for the Azure Developer Associates certification? I would say that we follow a blueprint. I mean, Microsoft does a really great job of laying out the way courses should be taught. All of our trainers are Microsoft certified trainers. And so you're going to follow the blueprint because both are going to give you the skill set and the study notes that you need in order to go for that certification. And I think it really gets to a question of what is your learning style, what is most flexible for your schedule, your life, the way you learn, and you've got to choose what is the best. But definitely, they're doing the same things. They're just adapted and flexible for how you want to learn.
And if I can complement to your answer, Shireen, is you will have in an instructor-led training additional advantages that you might not have when you are doing self-paced training. And is that you have an instructor that is not only knowledgeable, but most likely has a ton of experience. So one of the things that Microsoft certified trainers bring when they are delivering this curriculum is that they can give you real examples. They can show you real use cases of how they themselves are using the technology. So it's a different experience. You get to learn from an expert how to do things, and they don't limit to teach you the curriculum that they have received. They actually bring a lot of knowledge and experience and real use case and real scenarios. So that's a great advantage of instructor-led training versus what you can find in self-paced learning. At the end of the day, as Shireen was mentioning, it depends on what you like best, but I find that instructor-led training will give you a wider perspective that ultimately is some of the things that the discussions that you have in an instructor-led training session might be might be closer to the kind of questions that you might find in the exam. So it's an interesting combination that you can use if you have the best of both worlds.
Well, you also have too the whole idea of the labs and being able to understand how it works, and then having your peers right there if you're in instructor-led to say, hey, is anybody else seeing this? And you kind of learn from each other. So
exactly.
it's definitely the way to go. Well, we've kind of run out of time. We're at the top of the hour. I want to thank you very much, Sandra, for joining us today and for doing this. We learned a lot. I want to thank all of our attendees as well. And just remember, you can go to newhorizons.com and sign up for your first certification class. Thank you, everyone. Have a very happy Thanksgiving holiday and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.